Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hi, Dave.
Hello, welcome to This and That. We're going to be discussing all things going on in the skating world this week. So if you're new here, please subscribe below, smash that like button. Jonathan, where is your vase? You're in your natural habitat. Where is it?
Well, because I'm sitting on this like dining table banquette. So like the vases are around. Do you know what I'm saying?
People want the vases.
I know, but also here's the thing. I have two really exciting new ones arriving next week. So I kind of like
bracelet situation going on. What is this? Is this your watch?
No, I broke my last one. This was all part of my swag bag when I judged Miss Oklahoma.
Oh.
So like I cannot speak to
it was fancier than Miss New York, which was in like, wait, what town was that we're in?
Peekskill. It's a cute town. I don't blame the town, but that was a rough production quality there. That was not.
We went to dinner and the people were like dancing in the street. You did admit, yeah, it was like a little bit of a, yes.
Oh, okay.
I did a little arm twisting to get the gays to come. You know,
exactly.
Like, I'll take you to dinner. You know, everyone loves when they face, right?
Who wouldn't want to go see like a state pageant though? Like there's something scholarship competition. Excuse me. There's something.
Anytime I hear that I have high hopes for a living, I think of you and the girls of Miss New York because that's the only song they had the rights to play. So
that's exactly right.
Oh my God, I have two pop culture things before we dive into the skating world, but I feel like both really pertain to our audience. So if they're upset with me, write it in the comments. But okay, the first thing that really offends me is, I'm a big like TV person, love a book turned into one of those like mini series. I love a white girl like extravaganza with like Reese Witherspoon, and we have to talk out Nicole Kidman. Okay, I feel that she was married to Tom Cruise, which I feel like we overlook, right? I feel like she got a pass somehow because she became an Oscar winner and highbrow, and we really adopted her as someone that we approved of, right?
She pivoted well. Yeah. When she exited. Yeah, that was some very good planning.
Her face has now moved in 20 years. And we all have body image issues, but I'm just saying it's hard to do acting when your face doesn't move, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is she happy? Is she sad? I don't know.
You have to listen to the inflection in the voice, I guess.
So on the new Hulu series, 9 Perfect Strangers, which is based after a book by the same author of Big Little Lies, basically she wanted to copy Reese. She plays a Russian, Jonathan. Now, I don't know who told Nicole Kidman that she could play a Russian, that she was certainly Meryl Streep. She certainly put in the effort to learning the accent or the dialect in any manner. It is not even cartoonish. It is so laughably bad and offensive. I simply don't have words. She's the distraction of the series. She's the weak link of her own series. This is she could have gone to Hackensack. She could have gone to my Pilates teacher who went to college with Mishina as her professor. I mean, there are so many people. She could have come to New Jersey, all right?
I'm also of the sentiment, does she need the accent? Honestly, like, could she just be Russian and then just use her own voice? Because where I get disconnected is when it's so artificial. And then you're like, oh God, I'm so aware that you're doing a thing. And now I'm not following the story. I'm just distracted by your job.
She's like sort of trying to be Russian. It's awful. And I don't know who watched the daily cuts and told her that this was acceptable. And if anyone, please, is also equally. I mean, it's like listening to Ted pronounce anything.
Anything.
Right?
Imagine going to a restaurant with Ted.
Did you notice that he was preemptively like warning us about the Indian skater? He was like almost like really giving a speech, like he came, right? He was really
Again, and we're not going to talk about it because I think it's amazing that skating is for everyone from everywhere. Yes. I think that's great. Yes. Whether or not that event for them should be a junior Grand Prix is a different scenario. That's all I'm saying.
It is what it is, and they were there, and it was a great experience. So for them. So, but Ted was in rare form this weekend. He was stumbling over, saying that Novi, Michigan was rougher It was a tough go.
Well, even like when you would see him like in the men's event, he would say the last name was Malinin. And I was like, you literally just added 300 extra syllables, Ted. You're making it more difficult than it has to be. There were a couple that I was like, oh, come on.
You've heard Megan Duhamel do pronunciations before?
Yeah.
The Canadian trademark. All right.
Yeah. Even Tracy a little bit. Tracy gets away with it. She's allowed. Yeah.
All right. So I also saw the Jennifer Hudson Aretha Franklin movie.
Oh.
So Jonathan, I am a fan. Okay.
Great. Yeah, I think she's a great singer.
But I'm also a critic. Right. Okay. And I love my music. I love my queens. I watched the National Geographic series. I didn't understand why the Aretha Franklin show was on National Geographic, but I know it wasn't the first season of the show. I digress. To me, National Geographic are those yellow magazines where you see like Jane Goodall or like some naked people when you're 9 years old. And like, that's to me, come on. All right.
Yeah.
It was like very exciting in the social studies room. They used to have
yes, that's right.
The row on the and like Aretha in the National Geographic wasn't like our fun Aretha, Queen of Soul Aretha. She wasn't like Blues Brothers Aretha. She was moody. She was drinking. She was getting beat up in every episode. It was a rough watch. I had to turn it off at a certain point. This one, it's like our fun Aretha more.
Okay.
Ray Hudd, who we love. She's doing much better acting than she did in Dreamgirls. She won that Oscar for politics and singing alone. All right.
Yeah, but you can act during singing. Hello.
And there's much more of her singing. Like we didn't have like the Beyonce songs pushed in there, that made no sense. Right.
Just trying to snag an original score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, she does so much acting through her authentic emotion that comes out when she's singing, but her acting is actually better. But the clip is like the script is so clumsy that you're watching it and the time is confusing. It's like, is this a narrative arc about her father, who, by the way, was like much more of a man-ho in the National Geographic season? We only hint about things here. Right?
Yeah. It's only a movie. It has limited time.
This was like so like we just glazed over everything, but they would like reference things. The script is so painfully terrible. Painful. Okay. When she's like gonna quit drinking, all of a sudden her mother appears and they sing Amazing Grace together. I mean, it was like she deserves to win an Oscar for her performance, but the script is what could hold her back.
Yeah. The material itself.
It
should be iconic.
Right? Like she, 99% of the performance is like Michelle Kwan's like skating in 98, 99, Dante's Prayer, East of Eden, right? When she's singing. But then the script is like Tara Lipinski skating that Anastasia short program. Okay, it's just like and wrong, and it's like, and I don't want to tell people not to see it because her singing is such a highlight, but and at the end you're like, wait. So, it ends and the arc is that she records her famous gospel album, which became her best-selling album after they tell her not to. So you're like, wait, was it that she found religion at the end? Because that was kind of lost and glossed over. And like, did she really? And like, it doesn't even say like when they put the postscript, whatever they call that, when it flashes on the screen and they're like, Aretha sold 100 million albums and things all around the world. It doesn't say if she like kept not drinking. Like you don't know. It makes not a lick of sense. Like
that's too bad.
You're like, what? What did we just like watch?
Who produced this? Like who was behind it?
It's clearly a star-driven vehicle because was it Aretha Clive and Jennifer Hudson is Clive and we're with Sony and Sony's ahead of the whole thing. All right. It was just
Well, the other one that disappoints me that I've seen in the previews is, Whitney is my end all be all. Like that is such a voice. Like, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, oh my gosh. But they're talking about this documentary that they're coming out with about her. And it looks so fluffy and silly. I was like, I want a deep dive. I want like something.
There's another one. I watched the one in 2020. I've seen all of the Whitney ones. Listen, if you have not lived until you've listened to Robin Crawford's audiobook with Robin reading it.
Okay.
read Sissy Houston's book with all of her attitude. All right. Or you've watched her in the Whitney documentary, which like there were like factions in the family, like agreeing and not agreeing, and Sissy being like, she had bullies, but they had to face me. And then she's like, I'm a fighter. And I'm like, I believe that. I believe that, Sissy. Okay. And she,
Okay.
on everything. You can sing from your head, from your throat, and from your diaphragm. And she learned all three.
But that's when I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
Listen, Jonathan, it doesn't matter. All right. He said it, and it's true.
Okay. Therefore.
She said, Robin, she talked too much. I don't know. I just like feel her attitude. Okay. There you go. She's a little scary. She's a little bit scary.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like a lot of it, actually, Dave. Yeah.
All right. So the Junior Grand Prix, Jonathan, I have my comfort pillow here. You're talking about people close to home. Just like lay it on me, Jonathan, and like.
Okay. So
wait, I want to give like a little bit of a backstory that like. Last time we discussed Lindsay Thorngren, some of the things that were thrown around
two times ago.
Some of the things that were thrown around the rink was, well, now Lindsay wants a new free program. Pause. Wasn't she going to get a new free program anyway? I have always wondered that, and I was home with COVID, and no one ever said anything to my face. It was all like hearing what was being bantered about at the rink. Second, apparently the Federation requested Benoit.
This Federation is so...
That program was $10,000. And all I hear, and people, you know, that were on the panel in Cranberry, all anyone is talking about is this.
What's that game called? It's called chess. Can you teach me how to play? I don't play with strangers.
What is that? The car crash in the beginning? Is this a literal book report? Like, I don't know what's going on. Okay, like,
is this a literal book report?
I have no issue with the theme itself. I think it's great for her. I think the music is good. I think it builds. I think she like has worked on her movement quality and her extension. What is that voiceover? Is that French? What?
Here's the tricky part. When you have a voiceover come in like that, suddenly you remind us that you've not actually been telling us a story. Like her movements look so much better. You see all of the effort they're putting into it. It's a lovely program. The music is lovely. But then all of a sudden when you're like, oh, there's like a story or like a narrative going on, I wasn't catching any of that. So to me, it just
you weren't paying attention, because if you haven't seen the series, there's a car crash.
I loved this series, Queen's Gambit.
Also, like, what I've never understood about the program, and so when she practices it, you know, it starts and she's kind of like, she's standing like this, right? And she has that look, and then we're like this, and then she repeats it like in the program. And I'm always wondering, like, because of the way she turns and the way that it's choreographed, I'm like, wait, did someone mess up her music? Is she like about to go restart? Like, it's very confusing when you see the program like get practiced on a rink in real time. Also, Julia likes to replay that music over and over and over and over again. Like, we miss nothing. She was the most well-trained girl there. Let's it. Okay.
Oh, that was Julia's name was one that Ted really struggled with. Yeah. Okay.
He could have just said Julia. Okay.
He was like Yulia Lashanatova or something. I was like, what's happening? Like, it's right. She was a competitor, for goodness sakes, but whatever.
Listen, Yulia was looking very American, very thrilled with Lindsay. Really got it done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what's interesting? I was thinking about, like, I find I'm probably clued a little bit more into her in general, given the proximity that you have to her. But she really has like set the stage to really make a moment this season. Like she really is like working on that momentum. And although we did not see triple axel attempts here, I mean, that double axel is as big as a house. I mean,
she did it. She did one in practice. Now, Victor is hard to impress. Like I said, Victor, did you hear Lindsay won? Yes, I heard. And like very literal.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Like not like Yay, Lindsay, right?
Yeah.
So when she came back from Hot Sergey, you know, she's been working with Victor on her jumps, which was one of the things I suggested last year. I'm just saying, you know, maybe someone said that I didn't know anything about skating last year. Maybe. I heard a rumor.
Okay.
American flag said it, you know.
Okay.
It's fine. I've said worse. Anyway.
Same, yeah.
Like, you have to just like appreciate Julia's energy. It's so strong. It's so like
it's very performative.
No, it's not performative, Jonathan.
No?
She is a strong woman.
Okay, that's just honesty bursting through. Okay.
It's just like
okay. Well, even I was thinking like in their in-between moments, like at the barrier right before she went to skate, like I was getting a little anxious watching Yulia sort of come at Lindsay, right? And Lindsay was just trying to like stretch her legs and
that's
stuff.
just hack and sack talk. What do you mean?
I was like, but I was like, I don't want someone aggressively like lunging towards me and talking at me while I'm about to like go do that, I would think. But
girl, you have never been at the ice house, okay? Like
correct. Okay, she's actually trying to create a level of normalcy. Okay.
Feeling like home, you know. Arms. Okay, they need away.
Yeah. So funny. She did jump well here. I was going to ask you a technique.
What I was going to say is Victor was showing off that she did her triple axel. He redid her triple axel. So she came home, and it was just close of cleanly rotated, like in the practice that she did it there. So I mean, it's getting better.
It's coming.
Workhorse.
Okay.
And they changed some of her jumps because, you know, the under rotations were a problem, and those were much improved here than they were at her previous competitions. So
yeah, because when she does jump clean, it's like so nice and obvious, which is really nice to see, especially in this particular field. I was going to ask you where it seems to be trickier for her is like on like the Lutz toe combo. And I, again, am not someone who has jumped a triple Lutz, but like I'm intrigued by the leg as she picks in. It almost seems like a wonky angle or something. And I don't.
They're working on her jumps to make sure she's grown. So I think that's what you're seeing with a lot of the skaters, especially like Luca Broussard, who we'll talk about, like as the skaters are competing and jumping, you know, you have to adjust that technique. So that's what.
Yeah, it's the landing seemed to be some diagonal positioning, I think, consistently in the short and the free. And that's what I was curious, because I think they dinged her on it. Yeah.
It's called an rotation. And it's
but I felt like
it happens with Tammy skaters a lot, Jonathan. Okay.
Didn't say it wasn't or doesn't. Yeah.
I will have Julia call you. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine?
And no, they're working on her jumps. And I thought that they looked better from the last competition to this one. So she delivered. And her spins are very, very good. I mean, I think because the voiceover is going on, like when her layback is happening in the free, like it's pretty incredible. You know, she
created a lot of moments in that program. And I didn't know if she was capable of creating those moments from last year. And she definitely is. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, so she did a good job. And
yeah.
What did you make of Kaiya Ruiter? Kaiya Ruiter. Kaiya Ruiter.
Ed Martin, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, interesting. So this is the Scott Davis girl, correct?
Is this the one from Canada who, you know, all of their hopes and dreams are on, Jonathan? So whatever you say, speak gently. You know, just
if I were Canada, I'd probably cast a wider net. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think she's doing great. I don't know how this grows.
She is progressing.
The jumps are so close to the ice, it seems like.
See, I was more distracted by her core and by the fact that she now has longer limbs but has no extension. And I think that they really need to work on like ballet and Pilates with her and really elongating and then pushing through the crossovers. And then obviously getting up off of the ice, because it seems like she has grown as well. But the rotations for her have always been a little iffy. And she does have a lot of talent, and she is progressing from year to year. But I don't see like the big Joanie Rochette potential, right? Like
yeah, the presence is missing. And now people don't like when we talk about packaging, but we all know that it is a part of the sport.
Yeah.
And the makeup that she chooses to wear is outrageously distracting to me as a viewer. She does some sort of like crazy, like light line across like the whole face. And I have to say, like, I'm not here to criticize someone's makeup, but I am distracted by it. Like, it was literally taking me out of the program as I was noticing. And in the Mulan, it ventured dangerously close to
last week too.
Say it again.
People had issues with like the color of Alyssa Liu's makeup, that they thought it was too heavy and much.
Oh, well, I didn't necessarily notice that with Alyssa. I felt like they're trying to mature her and stuff, but
right, but they feel like they went too much to wear it. Like, okay, you can wear makeup to enhance, but when you go too dark and too heavy, it could look like a young girl wearing her mom's.
Yeah.
Right. In anyone doing this.
Right.
So
right.
I think that there's like a balance that you have to.
Yeah. And with the Mulan, excuse me, I have to say, like, if you did that in opera, that exact makeup, and we're doing something like that, you'd start a lot of conversations about what are you trying to achieve right now with this? It wasn't, I would reconsider that if I was her team.
I liked, on one hand, I thought that Mulan was age appropriate.
It's beautiful music. I do love that people are using it now.
Is it a little dated? I don't know. It's one of those things when you hear it, you're not quite sure. I don't think that she quite owned it. So I think that was more of the issue.
Because to me, like, I'd have to go back and look at the placements and see how this happened. The most interesting skater for me to watch was from Korea.
Okay.
Enjoyed her thoroughly. Classy music choices, great energy. Like, I know she's a Tammy girl, but like, I don't know. I was really enjoying her performances, probably the most.
So
I was drawn in.
She had some really great jumps, especially.
Yeah.
I thought where she lacked was at the very end of her free skate, and I really enjoyed her skating. So I really enjoyed it. I thought she had I think she has a lot of potential long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With technique. I thought her step sequence could use a lot of work. I think she got a level 2. I think I'm looking at it right now, but it got away from her, as did the spins towards the end of the program. And I just thought that those are things that she can fix. So the way that it happened there, I thought that
somewhat surprising to me that she doesn't leave this as a medalist. Like, I was like, this is a skater I would have loved to have seen in like the Junior Grand Prix finals.
It's definitely like a really strong top 4, because I thought that Clare Seo, especially Claire in the short program, was phenomenal. Another Tammy girl. I mean, these Tammy girls, they have good music. Maybe not the most original music choices of all time, but they have solid music, very good skating skills, good spins. It's the jump technique, and I think the technician element of who Tammy teams with is what I worry about. From her skaters, from skater to skater, event to event, we can see that some of the triple rotations are under. What I noticed is interesting is so Seoyeon had a little bit of like a weird facial expression going on during her Rachmaninoff step sequence as well, where she was just like smiling brightly the whole time. And I was like, I don't know that that's the music, but this is your Junior Grand Prix debut moment. So like, you enjoy it, honey. I mean, I don't know if it's your debut.
Yeah.
But this is, it just, the character of the music I thought was a little mismatched, right? The performance of the music. Claire, it was interesting. It looked like she placed almost better than perhaps they expected, or that she has not been obviously in that position before. And you could just see her tripping and fighting, but not really over the center of her blade for some to a lot of that free skate, where it just looked like it wasn't quite in her body. Like the trip, some of the spins looked like they were getting away from her. So she
well, it's something we say in music sometimes, where like the piece is singing you. I felt like that program was skating her in the free.
She was fighting through the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, and you could tell that that's someone that's well trained, that's able to do that. But I do not think that she was feeling her Sunday best in that free program.
Yeah.
It was just like you could watch it, because you know she was obviously leading after the short program, and was she going to beat Lindsay? Was she going to not? And not having maybe the technical content of Lindsay, but certainly having, I think, the all-around thing. She could certainly get the points in spins and steps and components. But it just, there were like, you know, little. Michelle Kwan said to Caroline Zhang, little dirty spots everywhere. Little dirty spots. Yes.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, but I do think that all four had potential.
But for me, the most intriguing, I mean, Lindsay seems already like in real like workhorse. She seemed like a senior lady among junior ladies, you know, like had this whole kind of thing going. But really, the girl from Korea was the most interesting watch for me.
I feel like she had some wow jump, some spring.
Yeah. And actually, I have to say, like, yes, the Rachmaninoff is overdone, but the Sanson, the Danse Macabre, like, people actually, for as common as it is, and we all recognize it, I don't find it's used so much in skating, and it works so beautifully. So
it might have been used by a Korean skater before, maybe, allegedly. I don't know. Actually, how about the men? So the men was a really interesting.
You know, I just props to the junior ladies. Do you know what I mean? Like those top four, what they had to do to be in those top four compared to what the men were, you know, delivering to be in their top four. Like, again, I always think of that Eteri comment. She's like, the women just work harder. And I was like, well, it stands to reason that may have happened in this field as well.
The boys are interesting. Well, obviously, because there are so many more female skaters to male skaters. I think, I imagine Russia as well. You know, I think when we see some of those group shots, it just breeds the competition. You have to, right?
It's remarkable what these young ladies are achieving and how consistent they were, like how polished the programs were. Because then you go over to the men's discipline and you're like, oh yeah, it's early and these are juniors and this is a, you know, it's a bit more haphazard.
Even an adult, like the ladies, so the fields are enormous.
I bet. Yeah.
So the men here, interesting. So, you know, Corey.
Where to begin?
Corey Circelli, let's talk about him. So he's been on Sia, and Corey's really smart about skating, about what people are doing and points and entrances. But watching him here, I felt like, and I was talking to Jenny about this because we've had him on and we've a couple times and chatted with him. I felt like he got in his head about the fact that, you know, he didn't get to do the Junior Grand Prix last year in Junior Worlds. So that's a whole year of experience that's behind him, you know, your experience versus your, you know, chronological age. And I think he needed it, you know, and is now catching up. But the problem is that I think he's so aware of what the other people are doing, right? So I think for some skaters, knowing that Japan and knowing that Russia weren't going to be here, obviously it's a bigger opportunity, but at the same point, it's more pressure in a way because you don't have an excuse to mess up. You know, yes, you could say altitude first competition, but in terms of your placement, your points, you don't really have that as an excuse.
And can you remind me why Russia and China were not here? Was that decided?
It's all COVID related.
But from ISU or from the teams themselves?
He doesn't recognize the Russian vaccine. So
I see.
Japan was their own doing, so not coming. So
okay.
But the real is Russia and is not. So the issue there is that it felt like he just like got in his head about, and maybe about the axle and.
But it was pretty close in the short. Like I don't.
But in the short.
In the past, we've only seen him attempt the double, right?
I was very worried. I'm like, Jonathan is going to hate these music choices. They're very, you know.
Well, they weren't great. They're not
the most original choice. I just think that he is a skater who is, I think he had the classiest lines basic skating, like overall, of any of the guys here. But I think he needs to own it more. You know, even though that Bocelli music is overdone, I did feel like he could own like the inside bower more and create more moments in that program and really make it stand out more. I think that there's opportunity in there.
I think it's all there. It's just a little chaotic. I felt like, and that probably happened maybe in competition energy or something. Like I felt like he had 1% more to go, or the landing could, or the position could land a little bit more. They were a little bit too fluid in their.
I think the biggest lesson for someone like him coming and who's, you know, out of this is that to worry about his own skating and that what he is throwing down is enough, because he can really get the points on spins if he works that camel spin. You know, he has a gorgeous free leg. There's no reason those cricket club spins should be so untrained with everyone from the damn cricket club since the days of Medvedeva. And I do wonder what is going on, but what's this?
Okay.
Sorry, everyone, we have a tropical storm happening. It's causing. Oh my God, last night I had to run back in the rain. I was caught out in
terrible.
Rain in my black eyes, you know.
I left the cake out in the rain.
So, and I think with Corey, he, you know, I wonder with him if being on practice with Ilia Malinin, who's throwing all of those quads, is.
But not here. Did you? So I mean, that's why I think you're absolutely right.
Them. And my point is that it doesn't matter what they do in practice.
Right.
It matters what they can do actually under pressure in the competition. So someone like Corey, notice how he had the triple axle issue and that is his high tariff item here. He can do quads, but he hadn't put it in yet. So then you sometimes like your hardest element becomes like in your head because you're like, oh, that's all I have. I'm going up against this person who has this jump. And you almost wonder if you put in the quad toe if the triple axle would be easier because you have to worry about the quad toe.
Yeah, 100%.
Because these are all like the head games. He slows down a little bit under pressure, which I think he can really work on because he has the skating skills to do it. And he had been an ice dancer, so he has that really nice run of the blade. And I think going forward, the biggest thing for him to learn is like what you're attempting is good enough and maximize every single point. Because if you look at, if he had gotten positive GOE for a lot of the things that he had, you know, attempted here, he would have been just fine. Ilia popped, fell, like it was
messy. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they're attempting on the sheet. When it's like a truce of a program where like with Plushenka, where like you don't know what's gonna happen. You're like, is she
just throw it all in and see what sticks. Yeah.
So and I think you know there are two types of skate, like when people are really aware of what their competitors are doing and know the points like a Megan Duhamel. For Megan, it didn't seem to really bother her. For other people, it can cause them to tense up. You know, I'm the kind of person
it was interesting. Megan, it inspired her to like work hard to get those points, and she like liked the act of getting them. We always said in music, to compare is to despair. The minute like once you've lined up and it's too comparative, like you're totally lost and not centered in your own thing. You say that in
12-step programs as well, Jonathan. To compare
is to despair. Oh, interesting. Now I have to revisit who said that initially. But you're exactly right.
Yeah, but I do think that like to really focus on yourself and really focus on the job that you have to do in each of the elements of getting those points. I think, you know, but I think it's a big lesson to learn early to really go in and really be laser focused on what you have to do and no sightseeing on the practices, right? I mean, but Megan would say that it worked for her, but you know, each personality type is different. And it looked for him like getting more, just a little tenser and a little, you know, tighter under competition. So it's hard that you miss a whole season of international things where you would have grown as a athlete and as a competitor.
And this is the first big thing out, you know what I mean? Like, so, and the short showed great promise.
How about Luca Broussard? So he's someone that I think needs to spend a couple of weeks with Victor. We talked about Lindsay, but so he's grown a lot last year to this year.
Yeah, so limmy here. I was like, whoa.
So all I can think of is like, Victor has this thing when you do like your limbs and the jumps and like how he wants everything, he'll be like, good, looks organized. very organized jump. And because he has grown, it looks like the limbs not so
unorganized.
Timing,
yeah.
Right? Like the timing has to be adjusted. And it was like he just needs to like get it because it's all there. Right? Like
just really beautiful like way about his movement. Like it's just really, really lovely. Yeah.
He has the natural wow, you know, he has a sensitivity to music. He has, I think, the soft knees. He's got potential. I think the jumps to working on organizing those takeoffs and landings and will really make the big. But I really like his skating. I really think he has something special and was the antithesis of Ilia Malinin here. Like they
kind of,
Ilia has the jumps, but
when
it was a lot of limbs and hair and
this was giving me those Trusova Plushenko vibes where it was just sort of like, let's just keep trying stuff and see if we just get enough points. Like
he is capable of working on the skating skills. I know that he was working with Victor Pfeiffer last year and he is capable, but it's what you focus on, right? And right now they're trying to get him all of the quads.
Right.
Fortunately, I don't know that you ever really catch up when you get in that mindset where you just want to get the jumps. Right. You have to really work on all areas all the time. And Raphael is listed as his coach. Obviously, they visit him as a consultant and his parents are his main coaches. I think it's interesting that the dad is the jump coach when the mom had the biggest jumps of all time. And he jumps more.
I know, but I wonder, do you think that she had those big jumps because of something she was actively doing? Or was that just something she was kind of inherently born with?
I mean, her leg. She had a different.
She would just pop in the air. I remember, were we doing 98?
He's like spinning more up to take off. Like, more of the Atari style. So you just wonder, like, when the boy becomes a man, like, does that still work? Does it happen? Right. So I think that'll be kind of interesting to watch. But obviously, a very, very gutsy skater, and goes out there and does it. But yeah, I do think that if he were to go to Raphael full time, I think Raphael would hire one of his former gays to inject some personality, please, or we
outside of the costume. That's what's also so funny about some of these packaging moments is he comes out with this sort of like over the top, like in your face costume, but then doesn't necessarily skate to match it.
Yeah.
So just go wear some plain black. I don't know.
Some Mervyn Tran originals. It was nice. So how about Ian from France? I thought this would be a Jonathan loved skater.
Wait, Ian?
Yes.
I watched someone else from France.
There was a little name confusion on the French identification. So
and we're back.
So yeah. So this is a messy show. So this boy Ian, I don't know what that was that he was skating to, but he was giving out looks.
I'm obsessed with it.
I was into the choreography.
Yeah.
That weird French abstract thing that all French skaters seem to have going on. I don't know.
Performance art. Yeah. I'm excited to see more of him because that was like a pretty stunningly like dedicated, unique program. I liked it.
Yes.
Yeah. Big fan.
In the same way that I think that Francois Pitot had talent. You know, I think we knew a Rocket Man program was coming. A Florent Amodio original. It wasn't my favorite. I'm just gonna
same. The short with like the shredded outfit and like the weird Moonlight Sonata. Can people just leave that alone, please? Just leave it alone. Either use it and use it as it is. Please don't remix it anymore. We've had enough.
How about with the letters that we're reading with the Moonlight Sonata? I was confused.
The immortal beloved, yeah.
Immortal beloved, yeah. I mean, these voiceovers are, you know, they just leave us perplexed, Jonathan. You know,
well, and again, it's like we're saying, if you're not really telling the story, we're missing it.
It's called chess. Teach me how to play.
Like, if anything, that should be the beginning.
Yes.
And then you've set the tone. Now we understand what we're in for. But when you drop it in halfway through, because even though it's Queen's Gambit, I love the Queen's Gambit, like I didn't necessarily know it was that music though until like halfway through. If you I mean, if it
when you're listening to Moonlight Sonata, you don't realize that these are the letters being written. Like you're taken out.
Yeah, exactly. Because Beethoven wrote it as a piano sonata, not as like an underscore for dramatic monologues.
See, this is why the program that we argued about from Papadakis and Cicerone, when they, that spoken word, I'm like, this is a bad call. This is a bad call for skating. Everyone wants to be.
Yeah. Is they'll try to copy it in the incorrect way. I appreciated what the French were doing it, and they started it that way. They set the tone that way. It's not like they were just skating to random classical music and then bam, halfway through there was an entire monologue, So
you don't want Benoit to start getting artsy on us. All right. That's
yeah, amazing.
Next time he watches something on Netflix, I don't know where the ideas. All right.
Where there's a nice soundtrack. Yeah, exactly.
Unorthodox life. I don't know. Like it's just
incredible.
It's about having a life. It is not so orthodox. Yes. I don't I just worry. Yeah. So now how about Karen Chen's brother and his partner, Christina? All right. So they've been on the Junior Grand Prix on the scene for a little bit here. I thought that they looked really, really good.
She's really elegant.
Yeah, and she is fantastic in terms of skating skills. He got a lot taller. He needs to, be stretched on the rack a little bit. But really good skating skills. I mean, that mother, she is just doing the good work, Jonathan, with the skating with both children, boy and girl.
Yeah.
She's getting them to the coaches they need to be at. She's reading the politics of US figure skating very well. I mean, like you really just have to tip your hat to that as a mother who really, she understands figure skating.
It's true. It's true. You're right.
I mean, maybe boot brands, maybe so much, but I just think
I think we're past that phase. That was a phase.
We've forgotten,
Yeah.
The US has 3 spots and that's what matters. That's we're past it. Yeah. So I think that I don't know. I really like it. This Rain in the Black Eyes, I do think should be retired by everyone after this season. Yes, I think it's had its moment. It was on my yoga playlist for quite a few years and it needs to move along. Okay.
Yeah. I really liked some of I think it was their rotational lift towards the end. Like there's some like really great lifts and speed that they maintained and all of that. It was really nice to see.
Their side-by-side skating was really, really strong. So that was impressive and a good step up for them. So, and it still seems the Junior Grand Prix final, because they're not going to do the normal points. It's all a little bit confusing what's happening there, but.
Because they literally just left it as a TBD, correct? They're like, everybody go, and then we'll figure out about the final situation. Yeah.
They'll like I score. So.
Okay. Because now you'll have to remind me. So Japan took their team out of this competition or out of the entire junior?
This competition.
Okay. Okay. So we will see with the Russian and Japanese skaters just in other junior Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do think there is concern here because, Cup of China being canceled is a real, it should be a worry to people, the fact that this is happening, because the Delta variant obviously spreading, ravaging even the South in the US. And I think in the US, we're still having events. I think everything is still moving along, but elsewhere in the world where the vaccine hasn't been as readily available, that becomes a much, much bigger issue. And I think there is skepticism about the situation in China to begin with, and the numbers as they are reported. It was blamed on the number of flights available and the inability to create a bubble for competition. That should give pause about the Olympics. That is just concerning. And obviously there will be more vaccines available within 6 months, right? So you would think that it would be okay, but it's not going in the right direction for right now. So you just don't know. And ISU is inviting other federations to host the 3rd Grand Prix. So I'll be curious to see. Will it be Korea? Will it be another event in Vegas? Will it be? We'll see there.
Remember, didn't Finland step up one time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
Yeah, and same idea there. ISU was like, everybody just go, we'll figure out the final later, or did they just decide to just not do the final?
Oh, we had the final.
Seniors. Yeah, okay.
So, but I would be a little concerned with that situation. So I forget why that even happened. I forget why it was in Finland and why weren't they punished something? No,
I thought China canceled.
They were punished and canceled.
Yeah.
So they were, I forget that whole situation. It's just like, whew.
No. Yeah, because
who remembers, you know?
I know.
Like
people in the comments. Yeah.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But,
they'll remind us. Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried. But how about the Mosvina programs that we saw this week? So we saw Boikova and Kozlovskii, a Maria Butirskaya version of Malagania. Why do they never recognize Christy Yamaguchi, Sandra Bezic, Stanley Black Orchestra version? Okay.
Yeah. This was a strange version. And I have to say, like,
what is that recording that Russia loves so much of this music? It's nothing.
Well, because it kind of stagnates. Yeah.
It always sounds a little
vacant or something.
Vacant, pitchy. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's sort of a monotone. I'm impressed because then what she gave Galliamov, for instance, it followed those like old early 90s patterns of like big start, slow middle section, frenzied finale. Like, so it's giving you all the layers and felt so much more inspired than the Malagenia music choice.
You know, both teams looked messy. It is very early in the season. However,
I strongly prefer one program over the other, though.
Okay. I thought that on the heels of how Taras and Morozov look, I do have questions about these teams, and not from their coaching. Tamara has a really good history of having her teams peak at the right time, but she's also had a history of having some teams have some ugly first pancakes. These were not so pretty. So I do think that they will be.
Well, they really weren't that bad outside of the side-by-side jumps. I mean, he did his Galliamov did all of his no problem, but Boikova and Kozlovskii had a really tough time.
I think I was just so disappointed in both programs. Especially Mishina Galliamov coming off of the Queen, which just gave them that extra bit of magic. She clearly tried to class them up. It really reminded me of Berezhnaya and Sigralitsa for the free here, but it did not look like the right music choice for them.
Interesting.
In this venue, for me, I thought you would like it. It reminded me of the Berezhnaya and Sigralitsa program from 98-99 with the coloratura.
Yeah,
which I also hated. So I didn't think it was a winning program when I saw it.
Well, I thought it was more of a winning program than the Malagenia. Like Malagenia, I was like, I feel like she just handed them a bronze medal at Russian Nationals with that program. And I don't know, Boikova seemed obviously very rattled after the Worlds last year. Her confidence seems to be still, I think this was more than just first pancake jitters. I think we've seen her sort of lose her confidence in a way. I hope I'm wrong, but that's sort of the vibe.
They're going for the more difficult combinations, but obviously it's hard to put those in as hard as old as you get.
Yeah.
Mishina Galliamov, I think, will pull it together, but it's going to be a really tough battle with the Russian pair. So hopefully the Mosvina magic is working and they will peak at the right time. But I don't know.
They both did that amazing thing with the guy was doing the back spiral and like the woman is just like hanging on like a sloth or something. I absolutely love it. And then Galliamov turned down and threw her into, I think, a throw triple loop or something like that. Like there's some definite cool moments. And that's the thing, like, especially after so much North American pairs aesthetic, which is so uninteresting to me, this like soft rock, you know, dreamy, like blah. It's just nice to see Mosvina's creativity in general, like coming off of Cranberry to then go and see like these lift entrances and these throw entrances. Like they just capture my interest in a different way.
I just think we haven't had a wow music choice. And sometimes I think the Olympics, people overthink it. And when you try to force the idea, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, when you try to find that it's really hard finding music. Like it can either come to you, but when you try to find it, it's always harder. So
yeah,
I think for an Olympic year, trying to find the music is always certainly challenging. They went classical, which is not a surprise, but.
And who knows? Let's see what the short ends up being.
I certainly don't think that they can go back to Queen for the Olympics. People have brought that up. I don't think you can really do We Are the Champions at the Olympics. I just think it's.
Yeah, she knew she was playing with fire with it for Worlds,
Yeah.
but I think on the Olympic stage it might seem different.
Yeah, I don't know, especially if they don't. Right? If you win, it's all fine, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's the best fluff story they'll be talking about all night, you know. But if it's not, it just becomes like a late night gag.
becomes, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of. I mean, of course, the question is like, Tarasova and Morozov, I mean, I just still can't trust them at all. So I think Galliamov's still in it.
oh,
He's so magnificent. He is so magnificent.
For sure, they're still in it, but you know, we're seeing the shifting of the rankings. I think we're going to keep seeing that in the pairs.
Yeah, which makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These two
I just hope
are not. It's not a 1, 2, 3 necessarily. It's,
no, and I think it will be so much more fulfilling to watch if what I hope happens is Boikova sort of recenters herself and like goes after it again. I wonder if she thinks the writing's on the wall for her or something.
She looks gritty here.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, for her year to win got canceled with COVID, so that's hard.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I don't know, what was your moment of the week looking at all of these competitions?
Oh yeah, it was just sort of like, again, I didn't mind hearing Ted's voice at first because I was like, oh yeah, we're back doing the Junior Grand Prix, like a sense of normalcy in a way.
So I think Clare Seo's step sequence, and someone put the video of it just by itself on Twitter, but to me it was the highlight of the entire event. It was so fantastic in the short program. So I really, really loved it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with those the back spirals of those Russian pair boys, and then the sloth move of the lady. I just thought both of them in their variations were so cool. Yeah,
Golden Edge and looked sexy, everyone.